What's up, Fabian? How are you?
What's up? Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you too, man. You're from Copenhagen, right?
Copenhagen, Denmark.
Is
Yes.
winter already kicking in there?
Yeah, it is. It's basically the same as the Netherlands, I guess. It's
Yeah?
pretty cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I saw a video from one of my clients from, I guess it was Stockholm, and it was snowing today. So,
Yeah, exactly. We don't have snow yet, but it's
hmm.
coming very soon.
Well, then it's not the same as in the Netherlands. We just have rain, lots of rain.
Yeah. Same here right now.
Okay. So, I was actually thinking today about how I ended up with your name because I think it was because a couple of weeks ago I posted something on Instagram asking people like who would you like to see featured in the future in the podcast episodes, and I'm not sure who, but someone came up with the name Fabian Mazur. Uh,
Yeah.
it didn't ring a bell to me, so I was like, okay, let's look this up and see who this guy is. And I started to look things up, and the more things that popped up, the more things interested me. So I was like, wow, this guy somehow he managed to stay under my radar, uh, and I'm really interested to know more about you because
Sure thing.
correct me if I'm wrong, but one thing that I saw is that you also do sample packs, right?
Yes, I do. I have my own sample pack label on Splice called Elixir.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was one of those things that really piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you don't see that much. So that's definitely something I would like to dive deeper into. But first,
Sure thing.
let's get started with the beginning. How old are you now?
I just turned 29.
29. Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
29, beautiful age, man. I'm 31.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
close to each other then.
yeah, exactly. And
Nice.
when did this all started for you? Like, what age did you have, and what were you doing at that time?
So just to go back to the beginning, when I was growing up, my mom and dad were jazz musicians.
Okay.
So I kind of had the music in my blood, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really start messing around with music until I was like 16, 17.
Okay.
And then like I got into it because a friend of mine was starting DJing. He got like the old CDJ 400.
Yep.
You probably remember.
Yeah, oh no, I had 200, the CDJ 200.
Oh yeah, 200. Yeah,
The
there were the
the
really small
smaller
ones.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But then I kind of got into DJing and production and just like did it as a hobby for like 5 or 6 years, and
Mm-hmm.
then eventually I got good at it and started like actually releasing tracks, DJing at clubs here in Copenhagen.
Okay.
Um, and then it just escalated from there.
From when you started DJing, it started escalating.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
I mean, the DJing career and the production career kind of went hand in hand because when I started DJing, I also started messing around with production.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for many years, just like putting in the hours, getting good at everything, like YouTube tutorials all day. um, and then, like, when I was, I guess, 23, 24 ish,
Mm-hmm.
so in like 2000 and that would have been 14 ish.
Mm-hmm.
I started like releasing proper music that actually came out on labels and stuff.
Okay. And what kind of
And
labels?
that
Like, did you start off with smaller labels, or did you because you also released a lot of stuff on Trap Nation, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I
What?
started off on smaller labels,
Mm-hmm.
and then quickly I started signing stuff to like the Trap Nation, Elysian Records, like basically all the YouTube
Yeah.
SoundCloud labels because that was where trap music in like EDM was back then.
Yeah. Exactly. And
Everything was like so centered around YouTube and SoundCloud.
yeah, yeah, true. And how
Yeah.
did you get in contact with him? Was it just like sending an email and praying for the best, or?
I think I must have sent like many thousands of emails just out to labels. Like, hey, listen to my music, listen to my music. I just basically did the old spam thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And eventually it worked out and like I made the connection. They replied to an email, made the personal connection, friended them on Facebook, and now we're like close.
Yeah, because now how many songs have you released in total? Do you have any idea, or?
That's a very good question that I can't answer at all. I have no
No,
idea.
no worries.
Uh,
Like, are you really like? Do you put out a lot of music, or are you really specific with what you release?
so I used to be putting out a lot of music. Like I used to be the quantity over quality guy, putting out like more than one song every month for the first few years of my career.
Okay.
But now I'm way more nitpicky. Like I probably release a song every few months now.
Every few months. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm trying to put the quality over the quantity.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. But I used to be the other way around.
Yeah, it's fun though, because most of the time, if I have a look at my own career, but also have a look at other people's career, like the quantity aspect of releasing music brought them a lot of attention. And then once the attention is there, they kind of switch their patterns and say like, okay, now I'm actually having the traction. Let's just be a bit more picky with what I'm going to put out and what not, you know?
Exactly. And that's the exact same thing I'm kind of doing right now, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And so you started DJing and producing at around the same time?
Yeah, I did.
And then did you notice any difference that when you started releasing your music on those bigger labels, even when it were like YouTube platforms, did you notice anything different in your career?
I mean, of course I did. Back then, like everything was like centered around that community, like the YouTube, Trap Nation, SoundCloud thing. So it basically like helped my career just get started back then. And it wasn't really like a monetary thing. I didn't really earn a lot of money doing it back then. The money was coming from the DJ gigs. But basically it helped spark my production career.
Yeah, exactly. And was that also like something you thought about? So was it a tactic of yours to say like, okay, I'm going to take the YouTube platform route and see where it's going to take me? Or was it just like, I'm going to send my music to every single person on earth and let's see who replies?
Honestly, back then you didn't really think about it that much. Because I was just like young and trying to put out music. So it was just like, whoever wants to sign this record, I'll sign this record to them and release it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much just the come up, like the grind of trying to sign all your songs and release them as quick as possible, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Just as much as possible, as quick as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then your gigs, like you were playing in Copenhagen, did you notice like any new gigs coming in after releasing on Trap Nation?
A little bit, but not that much because, like, first of all, we don't really have an EDM scene in Copenhagen at all, especially not within like the trap bass music kind of genre. So the only gigs that were coming in were like at my early stage of my career was like a few shows in Germany and a little bit of like show offers in like Asia, in Russia, in like Eastern Europe, but it was very minimal.
Yeah. And is it better now? Do you feel like there's more gigs available or?
Not really, to be honest. Like, it's funny because my touring career never really like took off. I did play a lot of shows. Like I had a year where I played probably, I don't know, 30, 40 shows ish, which is not a lot.
No, but it's decent.
That's probably the most I've ever played.
Yeah.
So like, to be honest, my touring career never really went crazy. Like I didn't go on like a 3-week US tour or Asia tour or something.
Yeah.
I only did a few shows here and there.
And is that something you would aspire to do, or is it okay for now?
Like right now, I'm good with not touring at all. I spend all the time in the studio, which I love. But eventually, I would like to start touring.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's good to think about that, you know, because I think most artists go into the touring mode directly without even thinking like maybe I'm a bit more of a music producer than I am being a DJ. Because it's two different things, you know?
Exactly. And that's my thoughts as well, because I used to club DJ like 6 or 7 years every weekend here in Copenhagen, like resident DJing. So I kind of like, I got that out the way. I mean, I've done my DJ part. I've played so many gigs. That I'm kind of fine with just being in the studio, like not going out to tour or play any shows right now. But I know that eventually I would like to get out and play my music in front of crowds, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. But then you would like to get booked because of your brand name, because of your artist name, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that was probably the biggest struggle because I had built a name here in Copenhagen as a club DJ.
Mm-hmm.
So people wouldn't book me for like regular shows with my own music because they know me as Fabian Mazur, the club DJ.
Yeah.
And that was a really big struggle for me. I probably had to like spend 1 or 2 years not playing any shows whatsoever here, like as a DJ, before I actually got a request to play a proper like concert.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow, because when like I said, I didn't knew that much about you, and I started digging online, and I found you on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff. And if I have a look at how you brand yourself, it looks really well.
thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, like the way you put yourself into the market, and the videos that you make, like the vlogs, the studio tutorials, those kind of things. I can imagine that you're building an audience right now with those videos, with that content.
I'm definitely trying. I mean, last year was probably the best YouTube year I've had because I released like vlogs every 2 or 3 weeks and a production tutorial in between.
Wow.
And like I have an American manager from LA called Alex, who's like amazing. Like the things he's done for me has been crazy because he has a really good eye for like branding and marketing, image wise, which I don't really that much. I mean, I've learned a lot, obviously, but that helped me a lot. But right now, I'm not really doing that much for the YouTube, actually.
Yeah, I noticed. The last video was a month ago, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm trying to keep it up, but to be honest, it's a lot of work.
That was my second question. Like, how do you manage to upload all those videos, and especially the vlogs? Because I know from my own experiences that it's a shitload of time. How do you manage to do all the things you do and still put all those videos up?
To be honest, it was kind of a priority thing because back when I also did vlogs, I did sample packs and production. I didn't really do anything else. Like I didn't have a social life at all, and I basically like stayed in the studio editing video or making music like 10 to 12 hours every day except Sundays.
Holy shit! Yeah.
So that's how I actually managed to put out that much content.
Yeah.
But right now, like this year, I had to take a breather. Like I had to tell myself, you can't work that much. You got to maintain a social life. You got to go out and meet people. Because like I'm pretty introverted, to be honest. And I'd rather stay in my studio, safe zone here, just working, than to actually go out. So I had to force myself this year to kind of like get back into actual life.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw the amount of videos, and I put out a lot of content myself, so I know how much time it takes.
Exactly.
And I was thinking like, wow, if he managed to do so many videos and he still does the sample packs and his own career, like holy shit, that's quite some time that you're losing there.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like in the future, I do want to do content on a regular basis, but not that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I admire the people that are able to put out weekly content on YouTube, like besides their actual career, because that definitely takes a lot of work and a lot of effort.
Yeah, I just really think that it really depends on how much time you spend on the editing and the afterworks, like the after effects and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
If I have a look at how my content looks, it's really raw. It takes a lot of time to edit it because you have to cut it and you have to put like the titles in and the subtitles. That takes the most time.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's the most of the work, but in the end, it's still not really polished. And if you have to polish it as well, like that takes so much time.
Yeah, I remember.
Crazy.
That was awful.
Yeah,
I remember the vlogs. They usually would take me anywhere from like 10 to 20 hours of work to edit. Yeah.
And then you still have to think about like, what am I actually going to film?
Exactly.
Because I saw your vlog in, I think it was Thailand or something.
Yeah.
And you have all these shots, and I was like, okay, so you really think about like, what do I want to show to the people? How am I going to show it? It's crazy amounts of time.
I did a storyboard for that video actually. Like I wrote down everything I wanted in a timeline to actually make the video.
Holy shit.
It was so much work.
Yeah, I can imagine. And is it like a skill that you learned yourself to edit videos?
YouTube University, man. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I learned everything on YouTube.
YouTube University. Wow. Is that like a place where you can learn how to edit videos or
No. It's just a
just
saying. Like
tutorials?
when people ask what school did you go to, you just reply like YouTube University. Learned everything on YouTube.
That's a good one. Yeah.
But that's how I learned basically a lot of the stuff I know about music production, video
Yeah.
production, vocal recording. Everything I learned from YouTube, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the best way, like learning the art of music production or any skill. It's just a matter of doing it,
Exactly.
like putting in the hours. And me personally, I've been to music school for 1 year, which took me a lot of time, and I wasn't really able to do a lot. So I learned a lot in theory, but in practice, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's my thing about music school. Like I also did like a 3-month course here in Copenhagen. In like from a musical theory perspective, you do learn a little bit, but like the practical aspect of it, I mean, you don't get. I mean, if you didn't go to music school and you were just playing with your production like DAW for a year, I bet you would have learned more just playing with your DAW than you would in music school.
Yeah.
For a year.
That's what I think as well, and that's what I believe as well. I get
Exactly.
that question a lot. Like, I'm 22 years now, and I'm looking for a music school. Which one should
Yeah.
I take? I should none of them.
Exactly. I get that question so many times a week as well.
I can
and
imagine.
like it actually varies what I reply to the person, because sometimes if I can hear by their message that they actually want to go to music school, I'm not going to say don't go to music school, because music theory is important. I mean, it can teach you a lot of things. It's just a whole different way of working.
Yeah. True.
So I would usually tell them just like, go with your gut. If you can afford and if you have time to go to music school, do it.
Yeah. True. And then let's dive into the whole sample thing. How did you end up there? Like, what happened?
Yeah. So just rewind like 3 or 4 years. I did a sample pack for this Australian company called Sennheiser. Not the headphone company, but with like a Z.
Yeah. The sample packs, I know them.
Yeah, exactly. So I did a pack called Trap Attack.
How did they approach you, or?
They approached me. Yeah, they heard my music on, I think, Trap Nation.
Okay.
And then they approached me like, hey, do you want to do a sample pack? Blah, blah, blah. I did a sample pack for him. It was pretty popular, and I did another one. And the thing is, my name wasn't on it. It was just called Trap Attack. But they did pretty well. And then, like, my name was in the description. And then when Splice launched, they heard the sample pack, and then they approached me, asking if I wanted to do like a signature Fabian Mazur sounds sample pack for them. And bear in mind, this was like the early days of Splice. So there weren't many trap EDM sounding packs on Splice back then. So it actually ended up, I did a sample pack, and it ended up doing really well. And then a few months later, my manager called me like, hey, I just had a meeting with Splice. They want you to basically start your own label on Splice.
Cool.
And I was like, wow, okay, that's going to be a lot of work, because I'm kind of like a perfectionist. I like to do everything myself, because I've had like bad experiences working with other people and like delegating tasks to everyone else but myself. So I wanted to do everything myself. And basically, I signed a deal with Splice and started the Elixir label. I think it was 2 years ago. And basically, I've done 18 or 19 sample packs by now.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That takes a lot of time.
Exactly. I would say it's almost a full-time job just making samples.
And how does that work? Because I do have some experiences with creating samples by my own, but not a complete pack. So I saw you recording sounds in the jungle in Thailand in the vlog. Is that how it works, or is it that you layer sounds from other sample packs until you have the sound that you want, or?
So there's multiple different ways of doing it. Like some of my packs, I would like resample stuff and layer stuff like until you can't even notice the original sample. So I would layer, say, 7 snares, pick like the low end from one, the mid range from one, the tonal mid-range thing from one,
Mm-hmm.
and then a top end from another one. Like compress them, make a new snare out of it. And some packs are totally different. Like some packs, for example, the Thailand one, I had the concept idea of doing a jungle sample pack.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked from Copenhagen, where is the cheapest flight to a big jungle? And basically I went to Thailand and recorded like all the local people, the jungle, the birds, everything. And then when I got back home, I just basically resampled everything, processed everything, and did a sample pack with jungle sounds.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's that. Mm-hmm.
there's definitely multiple ways that I do these sample packs.
Yeah, I can imagine that that takes a lot of time because it's really specific work. It needs to sound perfect, like you already
Exactly.
mentioned. Like on average, how much time would it take you to create a pack like that?
Usually my sample packs take me about 1 to 2 months to make.
Ooh, that's a lot. Yeah.
And that's like 4 to 6 hours a day.
Don't you get
Ish.
crazy? Like listening to
Sometimes, like, so I just did a sample pack called Whoops, which is coming out like in a couple months, and it's basically bass sound design. Only bass sound design, nothing else, no drums, no nothing. And I was going crazy, just like making serum presets and just like tweaking whoops and wobbles and bass sounds
Yeah.
for like many hours every day. That was pretty sickening, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and then how that works because like you've signed your deal with Splice, so you own your own label there. You release your packages through Splice, but I'm not sure if you can talk about this or if you can't be honest with it. But like, how do you get paid for that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I can talk about it a little bit, but I do have an agreement that actually says that I can't.
Well,
So
do you get paid per stream or?
yeah, kind of. So
Okay.
on Splice, where producers pay like a monthly subscription fee and they earn or they get a certain amount of credits. So whenever people spend credits on my samples or whenever they buy one of my samples, I get a percentage of the fee that the credit amounts to. So let's say for the example that 1 credit or 3 credits, which is like 1 sample purchase, is, I don't know, 1 cent. I actually don't know how much it is.
Yeah,
let's say it's 1 cent.
Yeah.
Then I have a Splice deal that says I earn a certain amount of that 1 cent, a certain percentage. I'm trying to go around here. So I earn a certain amount of the net earning per credit spent on my samples.
Yeah, so it kind of works like the way streaming services work as well, right?
It's almost the same, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I sell many thousand samples a month, and that amounts up to a certain amount of dollars, which I get paid out every month.
Oh, that's cool, man. I can imagine that gives you like a different way of income as well, aside from your gigs, aside from your music.
Very much so. And I kind of got to be honest and say that if it weren't for the Splice thing, I wouldn't be able to make a full-time living off doing music. Which is amazing because, I mean, I'm super grateful that I actually have that.
Yeah, I think that's fun, because so much people, like starting artists, really don't see how, and of course, it's like kind of logical that they don't know, but it's so hard to make a living from music. Because from the outside, it might look perfect and so easy, but from the inside, like, you have to do a lot of stuff and you have to make quite some money to actually make a living from it.
Exactly. It's a big struggle. And like through the first, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years where I started getting serious with music, I couldn't live from it.
Yeah.
So it's like, exactly. And it's like a lot of people write me like, hey, dude, I've been making music for 8 months in Fruity Loops. How do I make money from my music? And it's like, you're not just going to be able to make a living off your music from day to day. It's a really, really slow process.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't really realize that. They just see like artists out touring or like they see an artist just like flashing their new whatever Gucci flip-flops on their Instagram. And they don't really realize that a lot of build up to that point in their career was actually there. Like a lot of us have been struggling for like 5 to 10 years before we actually made an income that we could make a living from every month.
True. I still
Yeah.
remember like the first time I had this 10-day tour in America, and like I ended up doing the math like financial wise, I was like, what the fuck? I don't make anything of this,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just like the zero balance on the end of the story. I was like, how can I do, I think it was 6 or 7 gigs,
Yeah.
and how can I not take any money with me? But it's just because you need to invest a lot of cost, you have to pay for the flights or whatever, and it's really hard to make a living from it.
Exactly. Yeah. I've
And
had that struggle myself. I played so many shows where the fee was like 300 euros, and then you can pay for the flights and almost the hotel with the 300 euros.
yeah,
Yeah, we've
exactly.
all been there.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's a great thing that right now, in the age where we live now, is that it's really easy to make an extra buck on music. Like, for example, the samples, or streaming, or YouTube, or wherever you get it from. But like, I see clients getting paid like 300-400 euros a month just by streams. And those guys are not the biggest DJs out there. It's just an extra.
Exactly. And that's one of the main points that I want to stress when people ask me how to make a living within the music industry. It's like you need to have different revenue incomes. Like you need to have money coming from different places. For
Yeah.
example, like last year, I really realized that and I started working so I have shows, production, royalties, splice, samples, and I have the YouTube thing slowly building. And that's like 5 income streams. And I would encourage everyone to like look at their career objectively and try to analyze where they can actually make money from.
Yeah, true.
Because to be honest, not a lot of producers or music artists actually make all their income from like one specific stream.
No, I think most of them don't. Like even the bigger ones who get like 100,000 euros or $100,000 for one gig, like even
Yeah,
they have a lot of income through their sales from the tracks or sponsor deals or whatever they have. But
exactly. Yeah,
they have different kinds of incomes. But that's
yeah,
that's definitely one of the things that I should have done better. Looking back to my career in hindsight, like I
yeah,
completely focused on the gigs because that was the easiest way to get money.
of course. Yeah.
But I completely neglected all the other ways. And to be
I
real
kind of
honest,
I kind of did that too in the beginning actually.
yeah, maybe it's
Because I
something you
thought
should learn.
yeah,
Could be. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
not sure.
maybe.
I just think it's great that right now it's really easy to make money with, like, for example, Splice or the other way to get streams, like release your music yourself. You don't even need a label anymore.
Yeah,
That's one of.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just happy to see like people releasing more music independently and them actually getting support from like playlists on Spotify, for example, which is great. I mean, I love like the independent release distribution deal thing getting bigger and bigger because it makes it easier for people to get their music out there, and
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, it's easier to express your creativity. Like,
Exactly.
there's no boundary anymore. And
Exactly.
there was the one question popped up. Now I forgot. What was the thing? We were talking YouTube. No, no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Are you considering making videos again, like those tutorials or whatever, or is that something you completely left?
I don't really know, to be honest. Like, I had this conversation with my management the other day, and like, I want to do videos, but my management were like, "Are you sure?" Because it's more of a branding question. Because when I do these production tutorial videos, I brand myself a lot as a producer and not an artist, which is great for my image and for my sample packs in that way. But it's not really great for the artist image, if you know what I mean. So I'm kind of on the fence right now. I don't really know whether I'm going to be putting out a lot more production tutorial content or whether it would be more like artistic content, like videos and like vlogs with a lot of B-roll or something. I don't
Yeah.
really know right now, actually.
Interesting point where you're at in your career, because right now you've gained traction and you already have a decent following. So right now you can make big steps if you make the right decision.
exactly. And that's I'm trying to be cautious with the decision.
Yeah, yeah,
Just so I know I'll end up in the right place because I don't want to be dependent on pushing out production tutorial videos every week or so.
yeah. And saying like ending up in the right place. What's the right place for you right now?
So that's a big question for me actually right now because so I used to be in like the trap EDM hard bass music kind of space.
Hmm.
And right now I'm trying to bridge slowly into a more electronic urban type space. So a little bit less hard, so to
Hmm.
speak. And more like I'm not gonna say commercial, but more commercial.
Yeah.
Um, um, and I think that's the space I want to be in eventually.
Hmm.
But it's a slow build. Like you can't just release a EDM song one day and then the next day you release like a guitar vocal type song.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a slow build, and I'm trying to go more into a more like organic sounding space,
Hmm.
and away from all the trap EDM stuff.
Sounds cool. Have you
Yeah.
ever heard of Alvaro?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I think you guys should.
I used to be so into to Dutch house back in the day, so I know all of
Really?
the Dutch producers.
Awesome. I think
Yeah,
like listening to your music and listening to his music somehow I think that will be a great combination.
yeah, maybe actually. I know he did a song with a friend of mine, Faustix. He's Danish.
Hmm. Yeah, I know this. I know his name. I don't know him personally,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but somehow I think that will work great. I can see if I can connect you if you want to.
Yeah, sure thing. That would be dope, actually.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of great stuff right now. A lot of
Yeah, he's also bridging more into the commercial thing, right?
commercial. Yeah, the way.
Yeah, I know the word
Yeah,
commercial, but
exactly. No,
yeah,
but he's like he stopped touring and he's focusing on music production,
nice.
like ghost production, co-production, those kind of things.
Yeah,
So he's doing a lot of great stuff for big artists. So I had a talk with him a couple of months already. Yeah, months ago. But he's doing really well. Makes great stuff now.
that's great.
Yeah,
Good for him.
I'll connect you with him. Might be useful.
Yes, please. Yes, that would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thanks for taking the time to do this, man. Like I really appreciate you sharing the story, and
Of course, man. Thank you.
I think one of the main things that most artists probably are going to get from this is like creating different ways of income as an artist.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely one of the important points.
Yeah, and I really like the way that you are doing that by creating those sample packs. Like that was a whole new world to me. I do knew the existence of Splice, but I didn't knew that there were actually people having labels on it and like dropping
Exactly. Yeah,
sample packs.
it's getting so big right now. It's only getting like bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's a great system. You
So
know, I tried it myself. Like it works perfectly. I would have wanted
exactly.
this
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah. Exactly. Their platform and like the idea of Splice is genius.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if they have guys like you like filling the platform with great samples, then it's even better.
Yeah, and trust me, they have a lot of good producers right now working on sample packs.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They have so much stuff coming out. I mean, like several sample packs come out every day.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, man. I really hope you find your path and you will make the right decisions to grow.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
And let's stay in touch, man.
Let's do it, man.
Bye.
See ya. Peace.